was the most religious experience I ever had. And right before we did the blood spilling, I was up the pillar about ready to do that. Out of the Pentagon comes my 8th grade teacher, Mr. Everdale. And now he's got an Air Force uniform on. And he's walking through. I couldn't believe it. I says, Mr. Everdale. And he turns around, he looks at me and he says, Cordaro. And he comes up to talk to me, and you know, it's one thing to get ready to do a blood spilling in front of the Pentagon, holding a banner saying death, and seeing your 8th grade teacher come through and say to him, hi, and he says, hi, that's cool. But then like, oh my God, are you gonna stay here? And I'm gonna have to do the blood, because there was a signal, someone's gonna show us like, you know, someone's gonna drop something and then we're supposed to do this, and they think, oh my God, I hope he doesn't stay long enough, because right, you know, and while we're talking, he asked me 3 different times, because the guy could have said a lot of dumb stuff, like, this is crazy, why are you doing this? He asked me, do you really know what you're doing? And I could tell the guy, I do, Coach, I really, really do. No, my father had died a number of years earlier than that, my senior year. And I had a real sense that my dad was speaking to me through my 8th grade teacher, do you know what you're doing? And I could say, yeah, I could. And then someone said, Mr. Emmerdale, the car's waiting. And he just walked down the stairs, got into the car, left. The sign was given, the blood was spilled, hands were handheld, and we're screaming, the Pentagon is the temple of death. The Pentagon is the temple of death. As they took us through the pillars into an arrest car. That was formative. That was the most religious moment I ever had. Yeah.
Are you happy?
I am. I am deep down, really deep down, satisfied to say I did what I could, and I hit the mark that I believe was set for me. And when I missed it, I knew I was missing it. And it all has to do with love and relationships. It just boils down to that. And I really have lived, I've had 2 spiritual directors who were Jesuit. One says that you live a charmed life, and I do. You know, look, the way I look at it, really, it's, if you gotta buy a story, it doesn't matter, but if you buy the story and it makes you feel good, and it's a good story in your world, you're like, well, that's a success. So I want to do the works of mercy. I want to do it all as much as I can, because I know I'm close to holy, and I know when I'm missing it. I'm a grouch, or I treat people badly, and that's really not cool. But I know when I'm doing it. I do it all the time. I have a brother, my older brother, who has retired from being a teacher a principal at St. Anthony's grade school. Wonderful human being, raised kids, a solid human being. We're talking the best. He's got to move heaven and earth every week to make sure he gets to our house so that he can wash dishes for 2 hours a week, helping us, because we need the help. Joe moves heaven and earth in his good life to be with us. Me, I wake up, I roll out of bed, I'm doing the works of mercy. It's like, who could ask for a better life than this? These are what we call blessings. I live in a blessed scene. If I believe the book I'm reading, I believe I am in a blessed scene. The other Jesuit guy said that you're going to have a broken heart the rest of your life. And that's true. Get close to people. I recently fell in love with a baby from Honduras, and then the family. And they were with us for almost 2 years. And then the infant that was born here died. It was terrible. We got him back home, and I send them $200 a month out of my pension and any other stuff I can get, and I'm going to go visit them. I got that close. I don't recommend doing that very often. But yeah, watch out. When you're over 65, you pick up a baby, it could change your life. Did mine. So I carry a lot of grief. Grief is real important. You're going to collect it whether you want to or not. How you deal with it is really how you'll embrace the world. The resurrection was an experience of primarily grief. The women brought it to the tomb. Enough grief to move a rock. The women. Now those books are bending books. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. If you read it, in the century it was written by the people who wrote it, and the meaning they understood it to be, which I think is only fair. Yeah.
I'm curious how you organized, I guess, in the age before like phones and email and stuff. Because we have that, and sometimes it helps organizing, but it's, you know, all run by the people who were opposing, so they often will, you know, put pressure on them. So how did you organize before all this?
Look, I did press runs when they really were runs. You had to mimeograph from like 16 copies, you put them in envelopes, you got in the car, and you went to these post office box downtown getting press releases, doing a press run. Mimeographs, big, mimeographs. That's how you did your leaflets and stuff. Yeah, archaic. Now, how do you organize? I haven't got a clue anymore. I mean, I'm lost. I don't have, younger people are doing it. Real impressed with the, were you there for the April 5th crowd? You know, the hands off. That was great. There were a couple thousand people at that demonstration. That was exciting. I'm really grateful that people are in the streets. Catholic workers are in the streets when there are less than 10 people and when there are thousands. We're not the shakers and the movers, but we're consistent with our witness.
You know, I mean, to me, you're very admirable, but it just seems like it would be very hard to be like you. And were you ever, you know, like career-minded or, you know, materialistic, or you were never like that, or?
You know, what can I tell you? I went to college, I was obsessed about being a coach. If you want to be a coach, it's not about the money. It's about the program, the kids, what you can give them. My father was an extraordinary World War II wounded vet who had nobility and integrity that I could only hope to match. So when you have those kind of models, I never wanted to. Now, it doesn't mean I've got people in our family who want to make money. I didn't go that route. I was lucky. And then I got stuck. I got stuck in religion. I got stuck with Jesus. And yeah. But I do tell you, if you got a chance to really make it as an independent human being, able to have a sober sense about where we live and what we're doing, learn how to live below the poverty line and collective and do a work of mercy. Now people say, well, you're just telling us to become Catholic workers. Okay, if that's what you want to do. But look, that's in the book of Acts. We're supposed to act out this kingdom stuff. It's in all of the books. Unless you do the mind fuck with the dogma and the creeds and the virginity of Mary, like that's an issue. Really? Okay. Yeah.
You express a philosophy of nonviolent pacifism, and I think that's admirable. But my question is, how do you maintain a pacifist philosophy in the face of people who want to do incredible harm, like, you know, fascists, neo-Nazis, people who want people like me to be dead, gone off the face of this earth?
Well, we try to identify the people who are suffering those kind of risks in our midst and show our solidarity and whatever we could do to support them and confront the violence that they're experiencing. And there's a long history in this country of people who can correct wrongs without picking up a gun and threatening to shoot somebody. I mean, there are options in our history book. Those are the ones we would embrace. Now, are they effective? Do they work? I mean, one of the recurring questions underneath of all of your questions was it effective? Does it work? Will it be effective? Look, I'm going to stay in my character stereotype. I'm a white male from the United States. The last thing the world needs is another white male from the United States trying to be effective. In my type of people, we made the bomb. Yeah, white males. Let's just put it all on white males. Okay. But I want to say that the last thing anybody wants someone like me, you guys ever know the Enneagram, the 9 different personalities people have? It's a really great tool for, self-learning and stuff and working with people. Well, I'm an 8. And an 8 is someone who has liberation theology, spirit in them. They always go for the underdog. Martin Luther King was an 8 energy. I loved it. But the other thing about 8s, if the 8s are the bosses, they're really fascist, they're terrible, and you don't want to be around them. So I learned early that I want to have a kind of a bossy way about myself. So the last thing I want to do is run anything that has power over anybody. So I live at a Catholic Worker where it's by definition an anarchist community. Down with the king is sort of like second breath. If you act like a king, they're going to come after you. Rightfully so. I need that kind of discipline.
So we've got about 15 more minutes, Frank. So if anyone has any questions they've been dying to ask, 15 more minutes.
Go for it. And then you get it.
Me?
Did you ask? I mean,
No, it's not one me.
go for it.
If you could go back and give your younger self any piece of advice, what would it be? However practice.
Be nice. I was politically nice. I was publicly nice. I was nice most of the time with the people I lived with, but not all the time. And when I failed in being nice and treating people with respect. I thought my issues were more important. Easy for me to say that at 74 and those fights are all over and those people are long gone. But mindful that when you're not hitting the mark, you're not hitting the mark on love. Love is the mark. And who hits it all the time? I mean, really, we definitely need help. Yeah, but it doesn't, just because you can't hit the mark doesn't mean you don't, well then let's don't make it the mark. I'm like, look, I didn't write the book. Paul says very clearly what love is. Goes on for about 15